As it did for so many other people, the Second World War hugely disrupted Stravinsky's life once again. Catherine having died in 1939, he made for the United States. A Harvard lecturing job took him to New England, and there, in 1940, in the unlikely setting of the whaling town of New Bedford, he married Vera Sudeykina, his mistress for the previous 20 years or so. They went west to Los Angeles, along with so many other refugees from artistic Europe, settling eventually in this modest house in West Hollywood. It was a far cry from the classical elegance of St. Petersburg. It seemed to suit him well, for it was to be his base for most of the rest of his life. Here he built a soundproof workroom. This was to keep sound in, as he couldn't bear to have anyone hear him compose. In it he meticulously set up his writing equipment, his huge collection of dictionaries and the manuscripts that were the record of his life and work. Hollywood was full of actors and writers and musicians from Europe. Amongst those was the English novelist Aldous Huxley. Huxley was erudite and a philosopher, as well as being an immensely talented writer, but at the same time had a charm and distinction which exactly suited Stravinsky, and the two couples became firm friends. For the Huxleys and the Stravinskys, the best way to spend Sunday lunchtime was at the farmer's market. Today, still the place to go if you want to eat well. Here you can find some of the best food in Los Angeles, all kinds of cooking, fresh and well prepared. The special, rather European atmosphere, reminiscent of the street markets of France or Italy, crowded, noisy and friendly, suited Stravinsky, whose tastes, while fastidious, were broad. The cinema became Stravinsky's great joy, and in particular Western films. Apart from music, good eating and good company, he would go to great lengths to see his favourite films, often going to the cinema several times a week. For this taste, Hollywood was not a bad place to live. He also kept in touch with his Russian past through the Russian Orthodox Church not far from his home. Rather attractive and Russian-looking from the outside, it's a bit theatrical and contrived inside. However, it meant Russia, and confirmed his rejection of the atheism which he'd long ago shared with his teacher, Rimsky-Korsakov. If such a return to the apparent superstitions of religion is unexpected in someone with a rigorous mind like Stravinsky's, no doubt he would argue that his experience had brought him to the conclusion that there is much more to life than meets the eye. Musically, he uneasily shared top table in Los Angeles with Arnold Schoenberg. But in fact they never met, and until Schoenberg's death, Stravinsky seemed to show little interest in the supposedly mechanistic tone rows with which Schoenberg worked. However, after Schoenberg's death, things changed. It is hardly surprising that Stravinsky should be fascinated by such a process. It is just surprising that he took so long to become so. But he could never compose easily according to a fixed set of rules, and he had to find a way of making the system his own.